Yay! Hi everyone, and welcome to this session with Harry Alisavakis. Hello again, Harry.
Hello.
What is Meet Our Speakers? The idea is to get to know you better, halfway between an interview and a discussion around a coffee. So for those of you who are joining us, I will introduce you quickly. Harry is a technical artist from Greece, on a never-ending journey to learn, create, and share anything and everything around technical art. Very active on social networks, he created the hashtag Technically a Challenge, which encourages technical artists to improve and share their work. He streams on Twitch, where he shares his special effects work on Unity. He also maintains a blog with shader tutorials with lots of samples of his work to help and inspire artists. So to start, I will ask you a few questions about video games. And what was your first contact with video games?
Good question. So I think the first I can remember, at least, it should be some kind of emulation of those MAME 32 games that were on the family computer. But like the first game that I remember playing actively and getting really impressed and excited about it was the Lineage MMORPG.
Okay.
I used to go into internet cafes with my brothers, and yeah, that was the first thing that really got me interested in video games.
Okay. I also played a lot of World of Warcraft, so.
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, that came afterwards. That came after Lineage, of course.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you play Dofus? I don't know if it's very famous at south of France. Dofus. It's a MMORPG. Never mind. Because those were the two MMORPG I played when I was young. So.
Oh.
A game that has marked you.
Well, I mean, in a very literal sense, Bioshock, because
oh, nice.
Yeah, it was. I really fell in love with the world and basically the whole world building and lore around it, much more than the actual story. I mean, I really love the story of the first Bioshock too, but I mean, yeah, just the world building was really amazing for me. And I think it might also be really inspiring for me when it comes to game development. But I also can say that Undertale has really, really brought me into the indie world, of indie games, basically. It really marked me as well in that sense.
I'm ashamed because I just played the third Bioshock. And just started the first one.
That's good. I mean, you can skip the second one either way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't talk about the second Bioshock.
Okay, I have to play the first one. But I really love the last one.
Yeah, no, the third one was also really good. I liked it despite the controversial opinions about it. I don't know. I really liked it.
A game with some of the best effects, in your opinion?
Well, usually I'm a sucker for really nice VFX, especially stylized visual effects when it comes to spells and attacks and all that stuff. And I think that the games I can think of that really made me ogle at them was Dauntless. Even though I didn't play a lot, because it's not really my style of games, I don't get the whole repetitive nature of these games. I would just watch compilation of their visual effects for hours. And same for Spellbreak. Again, haven't played a lot, but the visual effects were amazing. And also Black Desert. The visual effects in Black Desert were also one of my favorite. Black Desert, it's an MMO, really great MMO.
Oh, I think I heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I basically only played it for the VFX.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, and also, sorry, one last more, because I just remembered, Control.
Oh yeah.
I have the art book like on my bookshelf. It's like an amazing game in every aspect of visuals, and especially the VFX is like amazing.
Oh god. I bought it and I didn't started it yet. I
Yeah,
must
it's
find the
tough.
time.
It's tough.
Yeah. If you have the time, if you had the time, no, I will try again. If you had to advise a game to people who listen to us, what would it be and why?
All right, to play, I guess. I'd say, like, even though I really loved Bioshock and Undertale, at least I wouldn't be able to call Bioshock like a masterpiece or like a game that everybody should play. I think that would be the case for Hollow Knight and Hyper Light Drifter, which is also like a masterpiece really for me. But if I would, like, since I have the way now to tell people to play a game, I would tell them to play Child of Light, which is
really,
like, because
I'm surprised.
I think that because it's not really that famous. At least I haven't seen it being referred to as much, and it's like a beautiful and really innovative game. Like the music is one of the best I have heard in any game ever, and not a lot of people know about it, and it's the same. It's like an amazing game.
Okay. What is the last game you played?
So the last game I completed, at least, were, I think, the Ori games, the newest Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Right now I'm playing Spiritfarer on the Switch. Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. I'm right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far I'm in it right now, but it's like so charming and really beautiful, and the whole game design loop is also really amazing because you constantly have stuff to do, and it doesn't feel like a chore. You actually want to do them. It's like, I don't know, really great game.
Yeah, it's addictive.
Yeah.
The next game you want to play?
All right, so I have 3 games sitting on my desktop right now. Yeah, one is Control, which again I have started but haven't finished, so I should get on that at some point. I also have Nier Automata because I haven't played it, and same on me. And I also have an indie game, Mutazione, I think it's called, which I've heard it's really good, but I'm still very early in it. So one of these. But I also play a lot on the Switch. I prefer playing on the Switch instead of my computer. So I think that my next Switch game is probably going to be the last Paper Mario game. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. So maybe that.
Okay. You said that technical artists can do many different things. Have you ever wanted to make a game by yourself?
Yeah, actually it's like the penultimate goal of mine. And yeah, even exactly, even the streams are basically like, they're not so much for like the actual streaming or like the social component, which I do enjoy, but it's mainly for me to have an excuse like once or twice a week to work on personal projects, because I do want to make my own games, and I actually I try to participate in game jams, and I have made like some of the last Ludum Dare game jams. I made a couple of games on my own in 48 hours. And I also made a small game and released it back in January, which is called Paper Boats. Yeah.
Oh, you did it by yourself?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
It was a really small like proof of concept of a game, really, just to try out something, and mostly just to make something and finish something and put it out there, because that's like the hardest thing, really. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would love to manage and make something. It's not just like the technical difficulties of making a game that are stopping me, but it's also like the creative block, and actually motivating myself to keep at it. So yeah, hopefully the streams will help with
that. I do understand what you're saying, because I also stream, and it's my excuse to play video games. Otherwise, I will never find the time to play.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
If you had an unlimited budget and time to start a video game project, what would you do?
Well, I guess because I really like the concept of maybe not having something too intricate in terms of design or like world, you know, I would like to make something like Breath of the Wild, but not like with all the elements, just like the sense of exploration and the sense of discovery, while also having some kind of rich world building around it. So, you know, maybe not something really intricate mechanics wise, or like something really complicated like an MMORPG or whatever. But I just like, you know, to make something that at least has an impact or something. I don't know. So maybe the unlimited budget doesn't seem so, you know, dreamy for me because I would prefer something small and, you know, even with a small duration, but just something that, you know, it's impactful in some way to at least a few people.
I love your answer.
Thanks.
I hope you will do this one day.
I hope so too.
Oh, we have a question from Jean Moreno. He says, "Hi Harry, thanks for the talk. Have you ever had nightmares about making a smoke shader or effect, like I assume every tech artist has had, and even more so if it's stylized?"
I can say so. Maybe not actual nightmares, but yeah, that actually falls in the category of clouds I mentioned, because good smoke effects also can be tough to make, especially if you want them to be physically accurate. Now, for stylized effect smoke, if you're talking about like hand painted and hand animated smoke, yeah, absolutely. Like I cannot draw. I'm trying, but I cannot draw. So yeah, getting like being able to actually make a flip book animation, a hand-drawn animation of stylized smoke, that would also be the dream when it comes to stylized VFX. So yeah, you can say that I have had a lot of trouble with that as well.
So I have a few questions about your career. You studied computer software engineering. Did you already want to work in video games at that time or later?
Yeah, actually, I got into like computer science mainly because I wanted to start making games. I actually knew that even way before that. I taught myself basic 3D stuff back in like middle school, like when I was 12 or something. And I really loved like 3D and art and stuff like that. But I was never too artistic or too creative in that sense. And, you know, in high school, I got introduced into programming, and I actually really loved programming, and even like the hardcore stuff I did love in my school, in the uni. And actually, the department I was in didn't have anything about game development. It was more, you know, software oriented and more in informatics oriented. So even not even so much practical software engineering, more like the math side and theoretical side. So again, after I got some good basis on my computer science knowledge, I taught myself game development. And because there were so many others in my unit that also got in because they wanted to learn game development, I actually started teaching seminars to others in uni to help other people like me. So yeah, I definitely got in with a purpose of learning to make games.
Cool. What attracted you to engineering, technical art, and video games?
Well, obviously, yeah, since I got exposed to video games pretty early, and I really liked them, and I really like the concept of making worlds and, you know, building stories in that sense. Well, when I got introduced into coding as well, you know, it kind of clicked that, you know, I could get into game development that way. And again, I always had creative tendencies, even though I wasn't really artistic. Or I tried to be artistic. I tried to draw and all that, but I wasn't really encouraged to really go after that. And as I actually thought, like, even until pretty recently, I guess, I thought that my way into the game development industry would be as a gameplay programmer, or like a programmer in general, or a coder in any sense. But then I found out about technical art and basically shaders, and since I always wanted to create beautiful things but also write code, that just was great because it was right in the middle of what I wanted to do. So yeah, after I learned that this thing, that I actually remember there were some kind of game dev meetups here in Athens, Greece, with like local game developers. And after I had worked with Unity for a while, I thought that I knew Unity, I knew how coding and game development works, not that I could do it, but I knew the stuff around it, but I had no idea what shaders were. And on these meetups there were like small presentations from people that wanted to share stuff, and one guy was showing shaders, and I saw this weird code syntax that I had no idea what it was, because it's like so different from conventional coding. And I was like, what is that? And yeah, after that, I just went into a rabbit hole of like searching and trying to find out what that is and how to work with it. And yeah, but then like resources for shaders were really scarce. Like you could find like a couple of good tutorial series, but nothing too helpful for beginners like me. So yeah, but after that, it got better, I guess.
Many artists are struggling to find technical solutions to their problems. You share your work and findings for free through various social networks. What inspired you to pass on your precious knowledge and experience?
Yeah, well, exactly when I started out, it was a problem for me that I couldn't find free and like beginner-friendly tutorials for like shaders and what I was interested in one place at least. I could find answers in forums, and I could find like a couple of videos here and there, but nothing in one place. So like my nature is to help others get into whatever I can help them out with, pretty much. So when I got into shaders and I understood a couple of things, even though I was really bad at them back then. Not that I am really good at them now, but you get the point. Even when I was really bad at them and barely understood anything, I shared stuff that I could make, because I knew that others would also want to get started with that. So yeah, I didn't also want to like have a paywall or like make my content only available to patrons or something, which obviously I don't have anything against people that do that. Obviously, it's a very good source of income, but because that was an issue for me when I started out, I didn't want other people to have that issue too. So I don't even have ads on my blog, which doesn't make sense. It's not like it's going to stop anybody from reading the tutorials, but I just wanted it to be like there and accessible and like easy for people to get into.
Actually, I think I forgot, but you have like a Patreon or
Yeah, I do have a Patreon, and well, because exactly because I don't want to hide like tutorials behind the paywall and stuff, I don't have very exciting rewards. So I mean, I do offer early access. So I give access to patrons to tutorials for like a couple of weeks before they actually go public. But patrons don't get like something that non-paying people would get eventually, at least.
It's more like a way to support you.
Yeah, it's more like subscription-based donation system more than, you know, like exclusive content.
Okay. Did you ever want to be a teacher? Maybe you already are, actually, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I do like, you know, sharing and teaching, and, you know, I have some experience with that. I, at least in this stage of my life, I maybe wouldn't want to right now. I do enjoy it, but it's not like the thing I would want to do like for a living at this point. But, you know, like having the opportunity to do talks like this, or like make tutorials during streams or anything like that, I would like that. But, you know, for now, at least, as I'm still learning a lot of things, it's not the main thing.
You're already a senior. You wait to be like the master of VFX to teach.
Seriously doubt that. Or at least I'm in denial, I don't know.
As I said earlier, you are very active on social networks. Most artists I know don't have Twitter. What do social networks bring to you in your work and maybe personally?
Well, I do use Twitter a lot, and I think it has helped me to grow like my brand, I guess, a lot. I mean, that's why I'm here pretty much. I find it to be actually very useful for artists, because the way it is structured really helps, you know, with visual content, because you only get like a small snippets of information, and, you know, scrolling and seeing a pretty image is like really easy and accessible as people are doing it. And that is pretty much what has helped a lot with my career, because yeah, I make things that have nice colors and maybe they move too and all that. So, you know, it's something easy to see and like, and then, you know, maybe gain some following from that, you know, because if it was more of a technical role, like if I were more like a coder, you know, regardless of how good I would be, I would not be able to provide that interesting visual content for people to consume on social media. So it has actually helped me grow a lot, and a lot of professional opportunities I have gotten was through Twitter, if not all of them, to be honest. So I would definitely suggest that, you know, artists use Twitter, mostly because it feels a bit more personal and more, you know, like you're talking to more people than bots. At least that's my experience. I don't get that a lot from Instagram, for example. I don't feel that, you know, Instagram has the same reach and the same professional capacity as Twitter. At least it hasn't for me. I don't know. But definitely social media has helped, you know, getting my work out there, and, you know, getting to know people, and all the connections I have made and all the professional connections I have made were pretty much through social media.
So I will clip this part and share it to all the artists I work with.
Yeah, sure.
Because actually I am a community manager, so most of my work is sharing the stuff the artists in my company do, and because they're not on social media, and I wish they were. So I hope there will be more artists on social media, because there's so much good stuff to share. So yeah. Do you have a few hashtags to recommend us to like discover new artists, for example?
Now, because I'm not really involved, you know, with actual art, and it's more around game development, I'm not sure about that. There are a lot of people with large following that do art shares. So the hashtag #ArtShare actually is a good one to keep in mind, because, you know, there are people that are sharing and retweeting other art usually. Besides that, I cannot think of something else, mostly because, again, the things I work with are more like game development oriented. So, you know, you have your screenshot Saturdays and all the made with Unity stuff, but, you know, that are for game development oriented.
I didn't know about. I will. Wait. It's art share. I will write it.
Share.
Art share. I didn't know this one, so I will check it out. What made you want to stream, and how was your first experience on Twitch?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, one thing I wanted to get out of streaming was, having the opportunity to work on personal projects, because if I were to do it on my own, I just wouldn't do it. I tend to give up on personal projects, but now I have just like small motivation to at least do something live for however many people would be watching. So there's that. But I also wanted, I'm not gonna lie, the lockdown was a bit of a factor for that as well, because I did need something to break apart my routine a little bit and have something to look forward to, or to prepare for during my day, something to be different from day to day. So there's also that, because I think technically we're still under lockdown since November in Greece. So yeah, it's good to have something new at least to work on. But I also wanted the opportunity to maybe gain some following on tweets that I could then use for tutorials again, but in a live streaming factor, and make maybe a tutorial series as streams, because I would be too bored to make them as normal videos. So yeah, there's also that. There's working on personal projects and sharing information with people live right there on the spot. And my first experience with streaming was actually really positive. There were a lot of people coming from Twitter, as they know me there a lot, I guess. And it was pretty positive and encouraging, and it seemed that people were really interested in seeing what I would be working on. And yeah, I think it was at least motivating to keep doing it. And right now it's been pretty fun, to be honest.
What is your favorite part of your work at Jumpship Studio, or of your professional life in general?
Well, in general, I do really like, and I'm not forced to say that, but I do really like what I'm doing over at Jumpship, because it's the project is super interesting, and the overall direction it's going is really pushing me to try creative solutions for a bunch of different stuff, which I can't go into, obviously. But the cool thing is also that I'm learning a lot there. And that's something that I really like. I have some co-workers that are really awesome and knowledgeable, and they really push my imposter syndrome. And I get to learn new stuff constantly, either when it comes to art or in code. So that's always great. But I think what I really like is, when artists use my work to make really awesome stuff, because again, I might not be really artistically inclined, but I can make the tools for more artistically inclined people to make awesome things. And that's feeling that I have helped to make something beautiful, that's really great for me.
Even if you have a great career, you still say you have a imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah, of course.
I thought I was the only one.
No. I don't think there's anybody in the creative field that doesn't have an imposter syndrome at this point. No, if anybody is thinking that they're perfect and they're doing everything right, I think they have a problem.
Yeah. Also, you said that you always try to learn new things, so it's part of how to say it, it's part of the imposter syndrome. You always doubt, so you always question yourself, and you always learn new things. So maybe it's also a good thing.
Yeah, I guess. Well, the only good thing I think that comes from that is just like the being humble and not, thinking that you don't have anything else to learn. So there's always that. Besides that, in this case, I actually do have a lot to learn. I mean, I know the limits of my knowledge, and I know that there's still a lot more stuff to learn. And I'm really fortunate to be in a position where I can do that. So yeah.
So I will try to help your imposter syndrome with this next question. What professional achievements are you most proud of?
So here's the thing. I haven't been in the industry all that long, to be honest. I mean, I have been working on freelance projects for, I don't know, like a couple of years, maybe. But before my role at Jumpship, I wasn't really at a proper game dev position. I was working at a creative agency before here in Athens, where there were some like game related work, but it wasn't like the whole studio wasn't like a game development studio. It was like a creative agency around branding and communication and that kind of stuff. So yeah, before that, there was not a lot of professional activity in game dev for me. So, I mean, I guess the fact that, my, again, brand has gotten to the point where, I get some offers from studios that I really like for like work, be it freelance or like an actual position. That I think is like my biggest professional achievement at the moment. So I'm pretty actually proud of, how far I've reached in those terms, just people seeing my work and recognizing that they like my work and, offering positions for me to work with them in any capacity. Like that's pretty awesome.
You don't have to be humble.
Well, I'm trying.
Oh, it's pretty impressive. That was your achievement. And conversely, did you encounter any obstacles or difficulties that you didn't expect to have to deal with?
In what sense, like professionally or?
Yeah, professionally or in a project in particular.
So far, I mean, when it comes to like my active professional career, I wouldn't think so. I mean, I'm pretty privileged to be working on this really niche field because technical artists are indeed very needed in many studios and positions. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky to be in this field, which is quite popular. And I'm also lucky that, my work can be seen because it's like, again, visually interesting and easy to notice in a social media kind of way. Besides that, I guess like my only actual obstacle in my professional career was that I lost about 8 months during 2020 because of the mandatory conscription thing that we have here in Greece. So that put like my career for a brief pause. But then again, like the whole 2020 was pretty much thrown away from, pandemic and all that. So either way, there could be a pause there, I guess. So yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure I understood, like you were not able to work because of the pandemic, right?
No, because of the conscription, mandatory army training thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm aware of this stuff.
Yeah, in Greece we have it's mandatory at some point after the 18th year of age for men to join the army for like 8 to 12 months or so. So yeah.
Okay. I will check it out after this talk. What was your favorite project to work on?
Well, again, not a lot of experience there.
I saw on your blog you have many projects, so don't lie.
Yeah, but I mean, those are like all personal projects, I guess.
It can be a personal project.
Yeah, yeah, but I think still like my favorite project would be the one I'm currently working on. Yeah, because I mean, I do like the stuff I have worked on, like on my own, and I have some nice, albeit NDA, freelance projects I have worked on. But I think the current one in Jumpship is probably the one I like the most because of like, it's really interesting, really like the direction of it in many ways. So yeah.
Okay. I got him. He leaked information. So is there any training or learning you wish you had received before starting your career?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind, learning about shaders earlier. Definitely, yeah, when it comes to at least my university education, I wasn't prepared in any way for like my role as a game developer or like a technical artist or anything like that. So I would like, maybe the Greek educational system to take game development for serious. Yeah, because it's not really taken seriously here. But yeah, besides that, it's because of the nature of the field, it would still require a lot of, self-teaching and self-exploring. So not quite sure how much, more prepared I could have been. Maybe, yeah, in some sense I could get some more out of my, official education, but yeah.
Yeah, there are not so many video game schools in Greece, right?
Well, the public ones, like the public universities, I don't think they might have like a couple of courses, like a couple of modules, but not the main thing. You don't get out of like a game design school or anything like that. It's mostly like pure computer science or like pure arts or whatever, but nothing really video game oriented.
Okay. I will say something really controversial. I will maybe have some trouble after saying that. But in France, I feel that we have the opposite problem. Like we have a lot of video game schools that opens and they are promising students that they will get work at the end of their studies. And they are all private. Most of them are private schools. It sounds very expensive. Yeah. And they promise students like, yeah, you pay every year and then you have your diploma and then you will have work. But for example, when they study art or I won't say visual effects because actually it's, as you say, something that studios are looking for, but for some jobs like game designer, for example, or narrative designer or graphic artists, like 3D artists, for example, there are too many students for too few jobs. So I would say we have the opposite problem in France. Too many schools.
No, we also have like private schools like that offer, game developer courses and all that. But yeah, I mean, also like the game industry in Greece it's still in its infancy, to be honest. It's not really developed that well. I mean, definitely not compared to France. We don't really have any large studios here whatsoever. So, they can't even really promise you connections or like, yeah.
And as you said, yeah, they're all private schools. So I hope one day they will be cheaper or more accessible to different categories of people, social categories, yeah. So you are specialized in so hard to articulate. Okay, you are specialized in technical art. Is that what you look at first when you play a game?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, yeah, video games are ruined for me. I cannot really enjoy a game as I used to because I might be too, focused on the technical side of it. Like, I don't know if you played Inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing game, but like I have more hours on the GDC talks behind their graphics than I have on the actual game. And when I actually had seen the talks before I played the game, and when I played the actual game, I was like, "Ooh, I know how to do this. Ooh, I bet they do this here." And yeah, I mean, I did enjoy it, obviously, but I do get focused a lot on the tech art side, and especially if they have water stuff or like reflections, which is like a notoriously difficult thing to work on. I try to look into it. Like as I mentioned, Sea of Thieves. I can tell you like all the weird things they're doing with their water and their clouds and like their reflections. That fun fact. I don't know if you've played Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I was forced to.
All right. So okay, next time you play, you can notice that when you have a reflection on the water of the ships, you cannot actually see their the sails. Damn, forgot that word. Yeah, you can't see the sails on the reflections. So
because they didn't succeed to add the sails in the reflection.
I'm not sure why. It's weird. I have some speculations, but I don't want to make them because I could be dead wrong. But it's something that I've noticed, and next time you play, you can notice it too. And I just ruined the game for you now because you will be looking at it.
And now I have a reason to play it again.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's definitely something I look at a lot, and I also gain a lot of inspiration from it too. I mean, like on one of my previous streams, I recreated the one effect from Sea of Thieves, like the meteor rains with the Ascent Lord fights. So yeah, I also draw a lot of knowledge and inspiration from games as well. But it comes at the cost of enjoying them, I guess.
When you try to understand how it works, then the magic disappear.
Well, yeah, kind of, because I'm not focused on the sparkly effect. I'm more focused on how they're doing it and all that. Like that's why I also got very excited when I first saw Control, because I could not understand how they're doing some effects. But again, I saw some talks, and now the magic is lost again.
Now you have to play a game and then try to understand and watch talks.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that, well, while technical art is really broad, most of the techniques are pretty common. I mean, there's usually in games there's not really a lot of reasons to reinvent the wheel and like try to make something completely new that nobody has ever done before. I mean, people have been doing things because things are working, so why not do them? So in most cases, everything you will see, there will be pretty known techniques. So I rarely see something completely new. Yeah, sometimes.
Does sometimes you like notice someone who's, I don't know, like copying an effect that already exists? I don't know how it works. Like if someone follows a tutorial and it's like super similar to something you saw on YouTube, for example, and you watch the game and you're like, that's bad.
Well, I mean, these techniques are really, really commonly used. I mean, you can always see that, there are certain approaches to certain problems that are really, fixed. Like, for example, reflections. I mean, something you have maybe also noticed. I don't know, maybe not, but again, maybe I might be ruining games for you again. Reflections usually are not real time. So, you can see if something that moves regularly also moves in the reflections, but usually not. And that's because they're using baked reflections that are like from reflection probes, or they're using screen space reflections, but that means that, if something is not actually visible in your scene, then it won't be visible in the reflection, like on the paddle or something. Those are, pretty common techniques, and you won't be seeing like really specific techniques in one game, and that you might also see in another one. Like really custom solutions in technical art are usually used for really custom things in that game. So, if you see like the same thing on a different game, they're probably also copying much more. So, yeah.
Okay. How important would you say the visual experience is in a game? I can guess your answer, but I'm still asking.
Well, it's very obviously important, but again, for me, it's more about the art direction than it is for like realistic effects or like realistic rendering and all that. That's always impressive, like the Unreal Engine 5 demos and all that. Those are really impressive. But I would take like a stylized game, like, I don't know, something with a great art direction, like Hollow Knight or like Hyper Light Drifter again. Things with really great art direction instead of like just beautifully realistic art. But that also doesn't mean that it has to be like the main thing, because as I mentioned, like one of my favorite games is Undertale, and you can't really say that Undertale has like the best graphics or like the best visual experience. I mean, the art direction, you can just call it consistent, and that's it. You can't really say that it's like a visual marvel.
It's not super beautiful, but there is an art direction. Like it's not similar to anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a bit like homebound, I think, but even so, like, even if it's not visually striking or anything, Undertale is an amazing game for the reasons that it is an amazing game. So yeah, it's certainly important to have like something great visually, and I think the art direction will bring you that visual result better than actual realism. But I don't think it's like the main thing.
Okay. Usually, I would say that art direction and graphics are like the cover of a book. Like it's the thing that makes you want to play the game. And all the rest is what makes you continue playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because I think I also played Undertale pretty late comparatively, because I saw the graphics and I was like, doesn't look nice to me. So yeah, I was wrong.
So you started saying it at the end of your conference, but with all these techniques on Unity, do you still take inspiration from reality and nature?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I tend to also like the same way that games have been ruined for me. Maybe reality has also been ruined for me, because I also like spend a lot of time noticing some actual real life visual effects, like when it comes to water, like when I see the light shining on a glass of water and I see the caustic shining on the table, stuff like that. I constantly notice that stuff. I think at some point I did some shaders for like a rain ripple effect. So when you have like ripples falling on a wet surface, and you can see that. So I remember catching me staring at like a rainy puddle for like 2 or 3 minutes waiting for a bus, and thinking how I would make that into a shader. So I try to get inspiration from that as well. And there also, like in graphics, there's obviously a lot of papers and a lot of math involved techniques that deal with that stuff in very accurate manners. But I just like to keep the stuff that made an impression on me. So not really the physically accurate stuff, but more like the the things that I can remember afterwards.
Now I have this very stereotype image in my head of you taking pictures of like raindrops or smoke and like, oh my God, how is it working? I have to do the same in my game.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Maybe not actually the picture, just like mental picture, but yeah, I am staring at stuff a lot.
Oh, you don't take pictures like as references?
You
all memorize?
No. Yeah. Oddly enough, no. Yeah, just try to decompose it in my head.
Okay. Have you ever found a great technique that you couldn't use for example, because it was too heavy for video games?
Well, for example, yeah, the clouds I've shown were also like a nice technique that I did at some point try like at work, but yeah, it was super heavy and didn't really work in many ways. But yeah, so optimization is not my strongest suit. I work more mainly creatively and try, to be artistic with what I make. And, instead of focusing on like the best way to make something, I just try to make something that looks good and then, see about making it work better.
And then the developers will come and ask you like, it's not possible.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, then I have to fix the plausibility thing and like the frame rate stuff. So yeah, optimization is not like my strongest skill. But yeah, besides that, I can't think of anything else. I mean, there are techniques that I have tried to make, but I couldn't. They involve too many maths or I don't know, stuff that I just couldn't understand. So maybe that's why they didn't work out. But besides that, yeah, all the things I have made were, just trying stuff out, like techniques I have on my head. And, if they looked good, then I tried to make a scene around them to see how they would look and, go from there, I guess.
There is a question I wanted to ask you from the beginning, and I waited for this moment. You said earlier that technical artists have to keep learning. How do you find the energy to always challenge yourself?
Well, the good thing is that I'm obsessive.
Okay, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I mean, when I see something cool and new, again, I don't always, try and experiment with stuff constantly. I mean, I used to, or, maybe I still do if I find something interesting enough. But in most cases, I just, take a note of something and bookmark it. And, if I actually need it at some point, then I will look into it and try to do it. But yeah, I'm generally like really obsessive and restless, and I want to try out stuff and want to learn in general, especially when it comes to, work. I obviously try to push myself a bit even more to, learn things that can help with what I'm making. So yeah, I guess it's more like a creative restlessness and, just like a constant quest to just learn more and more. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about how I find the energy, just like something that, I just thrive in it, I guess. Maybe someday I will just get tired of it. But for now, it seems that, this is my life right now.
Short answer would be curiosity, maybe.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
What is one piece of personal advice you would give to artists to last in our industry?
Well, I mean, again, I haven't quite lasted yet. I mean, but
sure.
Well, I guess well, obviously, sharing work and making connections is it's what has worked for me, and something that I can advise any artistically inclined people that want to get into the industry and evolve professionally. But besides that, again, I can't really say for sure, because I've been pretty privileged in a lot of ways to be in the position that I am right now. So yeah, I don't know, just again, keep learning, stay humble, and try sharing as much as you can. Try and make connections, be nice, it's always useful. So yeah.
Good advice. Last question. What are your plans for the future?
That's a good question. Well, right now, again, I'm still pretty happy with my position at Jumpship. I would still love to stay here and at this position, and see how it goes with this project and whatever comes next. That would be really interesting. I would like to work on more projects eventually, and gain even more knowledge, and try out new things, try out new approaches when it comes to work, and when it comes to technical art and all that. And obviously, like, again, the penultimate goal could be to make something of my own, something even larger than what I made back in January, at least. So yeah, I don't know, the future is still a bit hazy, but I'm still enjoying the ride.
Cool. So that's it. We are at the end of this talk. Thanks again, Harry, for this amazing conference and all your answers, and for your time. Sure. Thanks to all the people who, for the person who asked a question. We didn't have many questions today, but I'm happy because I was able to ask you all my questions.
All right.
Don't forget to follow Harry Alisavakis on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, not to mention his blog. And I say that because your social medias are amazing, and I'm so glad I did this talk with you to discover your work. So please check it out. This was the last Meet Our Speakers session of the day. So good evening, everyone, and see you tomorrow.